All right, greetings and welcome to the Eccentric Perspective. I'm your host, Blake Wally. Today is Tuesday, March 25th of 2025, and I will be here for the next hour to an hour and a half covering the latest news and current events. There's our thumbnail today. Game over for the radical Democrats. Perhaps. It's going to be interesting few years as they try to rebrand their identity. We shall see. But I've got multiple stories today. Let's take a look at the headlines that I have outlined. That would be, well, game over for Democrats, whose ideology has failed. How about Congresswoman Crockett? Does she deserve to be censured? Tesla terrorists, are they hurting themselves and not actual Nazis? And Elon Musk, should he sue Jamaal Bowman into oblivion? How about Trump won swing states because Elon owns the internet? And if the Democrats had won in 2024, would they have just outlawed voter ID? And finally, Michael Waltz, should he resign after the Signal scandal? This seems to be the number one story going around, but I have moved it to the end. I don't know. I don't know if it's that big of a deal, but perhaps I am wrong. And of course, if you would like to chime in on the chat, perhaps tell me why I'm wrong or share a story. Maybe there's some breaking news, what have you, live feedback, interaction, all that fun stuff. Wherever platform you are watching this from, YouTube, Rumble, Twitter X, Kick, you got a few. But anyway, feel free to chime in. We'll get your chat on the display here. And that's it. Okay, so why don't we run the intro? I'll get back and we'll jump into the what I felt was the headline story, and we'll take it from there. See you on the other side. Okay, well, welcome back. Let's dive into the headline story. People are talking about this Bill Maher clip. I don't know if it's that bombshell, but at least it's kind of the headline. Is it game over? It's definitely not a good time for the Democrats. Their approval rating has never historically been lower than it is now. It's a deep identity crisis, and they need new leadership. So let's take a quick look at this clip.
Okay, so just to continue on this for a minute, because I just saw this, it's really bad news for Democrats. 2030 reapportionment, there's a group called the American Redistricting Project, and in 5 years we will be redistricting. California is projected to lose 3 seats, New York 2. Also going to lose a seat, Minnesota, Oregon, Rhode Island, Illinois, all blue states. Who's getting these? Texas, Florida, Idaho, and Utah. I mean, this looks like game over, you know, and the reason...
I mean, it's speculative because it seems like it's 5 years away, and I'm not really even sure where he's getting at. I mean, if it's Congress, is that big of a deal? So I guess maybe people are, leaving California in droves. They're going to move to other states. Their populations are increasing, and they'll get more House representatives. I don't know if that's that damning, but I think it's more what's going on. The overall big picture is that there is an identity crisis. There is a lack of leadership. There are no good ideas. And it seems like everything's just manufactured. It's artificial. It's all astroturfed, if you will. I got a story about that as well. Let's jump to this one. This is out of the Gateway Pundit. The Democratic Party's identity crisis is far worse than most of the media is reporting. Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing. They'd prefer to project that criticism and try to put it onto the Republicans on MAGA. But sometimes you have to look within. And ever since the 2024 election, the Democrats have been embroiled in a crisis. They have no message, no leader, no strategy, or it doesn't appear that their strategy is to fight harder or get more extreme. And as we've seen in the recent weeks, all they have to offer the American people at the moment right now is rage and protests. More on that too, with the Tesla terrorism. They have turned into domestic terrorists. So some people in the media have acknowledged the Democrats have a problem, but it's far worse than anyone is admitting. And this is going to tie into an Axios article, which I have right here. Behind the curtain. It's the Democrats' dark, deep hole. Okay. Well, that's I don't know what that is. It looks like it's a picture of a Democrat donkey carved into the lawn. I don't know. It's a little odd, but oh well. So the top Democrats tell us their party is in its deepest hole in nearly 50 years, and they fear things could actually get worse. I just mentioned the party has its lowest favorability ever. That's bad. No popular national leader to help improve it. Oh man, I think I forgot there was a chart on that, and I don't know where I got it. Damn it. I was kind of thinking it was perhaps in this as well, trying to show you who the top people were. And it's kind of, it's basically more of the same. In fact, I know I do have it, and I will pull that up. I will find it. Aha. Well, it's basically Crockett, AOC, Bernie Sanders, and Tim Waltz. Those are still some of your top people. I believe Pete Buttigieg is still on there as well. Maybe I don't have that chart. I thought I did. Damn it. Too many open tabs and I missed that one. But it's, there's a lot of people that are still kind of staying on the sidelines. Like they have no idea. Like in a hypothetical race, if this was 2028, who are you going to put out there? You going to bring out Kamala again? Kamala, Waltz, Buttigieg? Or are you going to go with the more radical wing? I don't think you put Bernie Sanders on there. My God, he is old enough. You think in a few years he might step down, but he certainly couldn't do another 4 years like he would ever get nominated as president again. He had his interesting run there in 2016, but I think it's time to hang it up. So who do they pass the torch to? And it's AOC and the squad. It's a disaster. So they need a new superstar to emerge, and they don't have any. They're out of talent. And unless, I think Stephen A. Smith, if he decides to run, should be the clear-cut favorite. Beyond that, I really don't have any guesses. But maybe you guys do. If you want to drop a line in the chat, maybe there's a name I'm not missing, somebody under the radar, somebody who's going to emerge as a rising star from the ashes of the Democratic Party, rising like the phoenix to take over. But I don't know who that is yet. Okay, well, let's jump back in to this article here. So they've got no popular national leader, insufficient numbers to stop legislation in Congress. I guess that's what Bill Maher's getting in there. and worried about, even though that's years away. A lot could change by then. Durable minority on the Supreme Court, dwindling influence over the media ecosystem, as right-leaning podcasters and social media accounts are on the rise, and the Democrats are faltering. That's one I cut from the stack. One of their Gen Z TikTokers, Harry Sisson, who surprised everybody by not by being a straight heterosexual. Good for him. Don't care. Side issue. Not judging anybody's. But he took a lot of flack for that. But he was in a minor scandal there, trying to solicit salacious photos from future influencers. But I didn't cover that. It's more of a personal thing. But he is mixed in with some shady people that could end up taking him down. So his credibility has taken a massive hit. But that's a story for another day. Yeah, you got the young voters growing dramatically more conservative. They've got a bad map for the Senate races in 2026. There's going to be Democratic Senate retirements. Could make it harder for the party to flip the House. And I don't know. You got people that are fleeing blue states, increasing populations of some of the other red states. So they're changing. And there's a lot of people in California even that are leaving the Democratic Party in droves. And they might start looking at alternatives. They might swing back to the right. They're really upset, especially in LA with the botched fire rescue as the half the city burned down. Showed the incompetence at the highest levels. So yeah, the trouble is there, and no future talent, no Bill Clinton, no Obama, no even an Anthony Weiner. Hakeem Jeffries kind of seemed to flame out. He's a nobody now. They're not even polling that well in those latest chart that I saw. So what are they going to turn to? They've only got a few years left, so it's time to switch things up, and maybe new leaders will emerge. Otherwise, they're going to get stuck with the ones that they have, which doesn't look good. Because now we got AOC. I said a big rally in Denver over the weekend. AOC attempting a strategic move that has America on the edge of its seat as the Democratic Party seeks solution to their identity crisis. Says, I can't do what she does because we live in a purple state and I'm a pragmatist. I don't know. But here's an interesting clip from Fox when they talk about, billionaires and the oligarchs. You got Trump or Elon running the government. But in all reality, they're saying AOC and Bernie's anti-oligarch tour drips with irony because twice as many billionaires actually backed Kamala. So none of that makes sense either. So they're not the party for the working people anymore. They're a party for the donor class and the globalists and the illegal aliens and extremist radicals. So we had a Denver crowd that was reportedly so large, let's put an asterisk next to that because I'm going to get to that people were climbing onto statues and sat on building steps across the street to watch. Like going to a Cubs game and they're watching from across the street on the buildings. So in Tempe, would that be in Arizona? Thousands who couldn't fit inside the arena watched from a plaza or a nearby parking garage. Well, that is unusual. Usually they do not get very big crowds, except, again, there's an asterisks, as it seems like the crowds are actually astroturfed. But AOC did a 25-minute speech saying we're not powerless in the moment and we need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us. They've fought pretty hard. It's just that their ideas are horrible and they lack any, they're removed from common sense. So people don't resonate with their messaging anymore. But still, their internal polling shows Democrats largely do support Ocasio-Cortez. Make that make sense. Gallup finding about 2/3 view her favorably and just 5% unfavorably. Really? That's embarrassing. And, you know, I appreciate her spirit, but she's obviously not that bright. I don't know how they would have those high of favorability ratings for her. You know, it's like appreciate what you do, but we should really get somebody else. But hey, if that's the best they can do, roll with it. And we'll see how that works out for them. I thought she was going to end up getting recalled or voted out in New York, but it surprisingly did not happen. But I mean, you got to take a look at the average AOC voters, people that were at the rally recently. Maybe that will shed some light on that. And I guess be warned, because there could be some graphic language and extreme stupidity. We'll try running this clip.
This guy is a fake-ass cowboy motherfucker. Where's your 10-gallon fake hat?
All that shit, fuck you, all that bullshit.
Wow.
Here's your soundbite, you little weird internet troll.
I guess that's even worse than I thought. Right out of the gate, too. You just get hit in the face with F-bombs. All right, here we go.
My sign says, if you want to know how fascism ends, ask Benito Mussolini.
And they hung him, right?
Yep, they hung him by his feet from a lamppost. That's exactly what every fascist deserves. The only good fascist is a dead fascist.
Okay. They seem to have a little self-awareness that they are usually the ones that are fascist, and they're the ones that are the extremist radicals, and they're wearing masks at these rallies and making horrible statements. Man, this video is 11 and a half, or almost 12 minutes. So I don't know how far this is going to go. Kudos to Jeff Hunt for going behind enemy lines to ask questions in a cowboy hat.
Are you calling for that to happen to our president right now?
I believe that the minute that Donald Trump decided to start ignoring judicial orders, he gave up the right to be the rightful president of the United States. He's an enemy of the nation, and yes, I'd like to see him hung by his feet by a lamppost. So I'm kind of sick and tired of all these Democrats running around talking about, here's what we're going to do to win. Motherfucker, they're not going to let you take office. The only way we're getting Donald Trump or J.D. Vance or his ilk out of power is having tens of millions in this people in the streets. And we're going to have to have a few thousand people die at the hands of cops and soldiers before people get outraged enough to actually force the government to resign.
Okay, well, I'll give him credit for being candid and taking his mask off. Yeah, not that mask. Yeah, you're seeing they take their actual masks off of their personalities and what they really think. Yeah, they have really gone to the extremes and are turning to violence. And again, little self-awareness that they are the fascists that they actually hate. Okay, well, that was, there's a piece of it. I don't know how much more I want to run. It's going to be another 11 minutes of crazy people saying crazy things. All right, I guess this one's a little bit more of a comic relief. The fart heard around the world. It's a small verbal gaffe here for our amusement. Let's check this out from AOC.
We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us together.
Okay, well, all right, there we go. Everybody got a chuckle. But it turns out, this might have been all AstroTurf to begin with. And hey, Bill, how you doing? Great to have you here. Majority of California is red, and Newsom keeps manipulating the elections. Yeah, that was an absolute debacle last time. That took forever. It took months to get the vote counts. It should have all been done in a day. You had multiple locations throughout California where it was like, how in the world could they possibly still be counting ballots? Of course, it's known that the hold on, having a brain freeze. I'm having my own little brain fart, like AOC here. I already forgot what I was saying. Okay, well, welcome to Mercury retrograde and me losing my mind on air. But California, I already forgot. I lost my place, but here we go. We try to recover from this debacle of my own making. Something to do with the election. All right. But the Democrats in trouble in California. They do have a lot of red spots throughout the state, and the vast majority. It's just mainly the blue cities as far as San Francisco and Los Angeles, but now they're turning against the Democratic leadership there after the fires caused so much damage, and it was just an incompetent way that they tried to take care of that mess in their backyard, which is having a bad effect there. And, but I've been in like Orange County where in San Diego, there are certainly pockets where there are a lot of red spots. And maybe they want to even, I don't know if they want to divide it. You're talking about one giant landmass there that's got 55 electoral votes. Maybe they could even break that up into a few spots and change that. Get a better representation of the actual population that lives there. But we shall see. California is a big mess, and yes, I happened to be there at the height of it, and had to flee after the lockdown, because that was also another mess of the Democratic management and just shutting down the city and forcing everybody to wear masks and stand 6 feet apart. Yes, I got to experience that firsthand, and not being able to use the beaches. Not being able to get to live in California and not get to have any of the enjoyment out of it. So that was no good. But let's get back to this rally here, which turns out was perhaps astroturfed. AOC and the Sanders rally full of professional protesters. So Bernie Sanders is claimed as the Fight the Oligarchy tour with AOC, drawing record crowds. But there's just one problem. Looks like they're packed full of professional protesters, according to detailed analysis of the mobile phone data. So, yes, Bernie Sanders, proudly posting a video saying, oh, yeah, the video speaks for itself. You got 34,000 people out in Denver. That is a large rally. And it's the largest political rally since 2008. And they're saying no to authoritarianism, no to oligarchy, no to Trumpism. They're ready to fight back. But there was a data analyst named Tony Saruga, and he had a different interpretation of the event and the others on the Fight the Oligarchy tour, where he used an algorithm to analyze data from smartphones and came to the conclusion that the numbers were severely inflated and that many in attendance were actually professional. And he says that there's 20,000 devices and still a large crowd, but not even close to the 30,000 quoted in Denver newspapers, nor the 34,000 quoted by Bernie Sanders and AOC. So they're just saying that they were able to pick up on 20,000 different phones, so that there weren't actually 30,000 people there, unless we're to believe that 10,000 people were in attendance and didn't have their phones, or did not have phones, or did not have them on. Seems unlikely. Went on to say further detailed analysis showed that many of these individuals were linked to 5 activist groups. And apparently some of them are known to have received money, at least in the past, from U.S. aid, the Democratic slush fund that Elon Musk and Doge are in the process of shutting down. So, but I know they've done these before. They've shown and just similar phones with phone numbers. It's the same people going from rally to rally, like they're just being bussed around the country. So it's not, or actually not like organic grassroots rallies. They are, people that are part of the system. So I wonder what Bernie thinks of that. It's all made up. They're offering, I don't know, $200 payments to activists to take part in these themed protests. It's all fluffed up. Trump got huge rallies. It's a threat to the Democratic establishment. They're embarrassed that they can't compete with that. So a lot of them set up with Kamala they just had bands or something playing. So people would show up for a musical act and then Kamala would speak. They showed up for Beyonce in Houston, to see Beyonce, not Kamala. So just more manipulation of the public to make it seem like they have more support than they really do. Okay, let's check out, it's another article, but I'm sure it's going to be the same video I just played. Maybe not. The lunatics at the AOC rally, yes, calling for Trump to be tortured and murdered and cutting his effing head off. That's what the Democratic Party now represents. It's not beating you with superior ideas. It's just extremist threats. So, I don't know. Let's see if I'll run this clip. This is only 1 minute as opposed to the 12-minute clip. Hopefully it'll be something different than I've already played, but we're gonna find out right now.
Donald Trump, are you calling for his death?
I am, yes. I believe it's time that the people...
Another lady wearing a mask.
I believe it's time that the people straight cut his fucking head off.
Sign says, if you want to know how fascism ends, ask Benito.
All right, we already saw that one. Here we go. Let's get to a new lady. Here we go.
But you wouldn't necessarily call for violence, would you? Are you supporting violence?
I think there's the people in power. That's all they're going to listen to at this point. I feel like we've done the rallies, we've done all these things, and they don't listen. And that was something that finally got people to listen. So I personally don't. But if that's what we need to do for people to listen, then.
So violence is okay. It's the ends justify the means. Which is ironic because that's isn't that out of the Machiavellian playbook? Of course, the rules for radicals and Saul Alinsky. So back to their old tricks. No, it's not just common sense and reaching out with superior ideology, just escalating temper tantrums. All right, so let's keep moving. The leftist March Madness, meet the bitter 16. Yes, in the spirit, we've got Sweet 16 coming up for the NCAA men's tourney coming up on Thursday, but it is Tuesday. But now we're just having a little fun with the Democrats, trying to find out who is going to rise to the top, who are going to be the next leaders here in this mad march to leftist insanity. Got Bernie Sanders, this is the East Regional. Judge James Boasberg, who's under fire because he's trying to keep violent illegal aliens in the country instead of having them deported to the supermax. But it turns out that his daughter was, she's basically providing legal counsel for a lot of those people, a lot of violent gang members. And he's also done some other bad things. I believe against January 6 people. And I think there was another one, but he's got a few things. He's an activist judge nominated from the Obama days. So he is trying to impede Trump and his MAGA agenda and deporting violent criminals. Okay, out of the East also, you got Chucky Schumer, who's probably ready to step down at some point. Hakeem Jeffries, calling him the dollar store Obama. But he really just does not, he hasn't really gained much ground. So he's not really considered much of a front runner. So I don't know who wins that bracket. And then you've got the Midwest Regional. You've got Tim Walz, Minnesota governor, who loves to embarrass himself, make a spectacle. Was just calling out Trump supporters, getting into fights and not being masculine enough, or they're threatened by masculinity. It's also trashing Tesla, and it turned out that it was in the Minnesota pension fund, so he was hurting his own constituents' retirement funds. But Tesla came roaring back, so there's out of the woods there. What else you got? Ilhan Omar, part of the squad, another Minnesota Marxist. You've got Governor J.B. Pritzker out of Illinois. And Judge Susan Crawford from far-left Wisconsin Supreme Court. She's kind of a big underdog there. I mean, this is how slim this is how shallow the bench is here. They just don't have anybody. West Regional, Senator Mazi Hirono. Nancy Pelosi, she's a fossil. She's got to step down. Senator Adam Schiff, has already been censured, who should be... he should be tied up in court someday for all of his Russia fishing expedition nonsense, wasting a lot of taxpayer time and money. Tesla tortures. We'll get to that soon. And what else do we have? AOC. Got the cast of The View. Comedian Bill Burr got thrown into this. He's... Unfortunately, he's been one of the greats, but he has really gotten infected with the woke mind virus recently. Made a strange appearance on The View. He's been very vocal going after Elon Musk. And he's kind of destroying his legacy right now. You got Bill Kristol and those Never Trump neocons and the Lincoln Project. Yeah, I don't know. Interesting article here. But again, displaying the fact that the Democrats don't have anybody. Big, big trouble. Okay, so is it game over? Looks that way. There's no way they can continue to run the same team. So the window is closed. They had their chance in 2024. And I'm going to get to that because that's one of the topics coming up. Is had they won in 2024, they could have changed everything. But since they didn't, and they weren't able to get their the agenda through and change some of the laws that they wanted to change that could have set them up for indefinite victories going forward. But now they're going to put a stop to those plans. So now they're actually going to have to win on ideas and find a proper leader that they can rally around. And I don't think it's going to be Bernie or AOC or Kamala or Tim Walz or Gavin Newsom. So, again, I guess I'm going to have to go with Stephen A. Smith. I just don't know if that establishment Democrats are ever going to accept him. That's assuming he would even want to do it anyway. At that point, you already got a cushy job. You can just cover sports. You don't have to get involved in any of that. It's a dangerous game these days. All right, so think that might be it. It's game over for the current form of the Democrats. Massive identity crisis, and they're going to have massive changes going forward if they're ever going to reach out to common sense Americans ever again. Okay, well, what is next? Speaking of the crazy radical Democrats, got Congresswoman Crockett, seen by some as potentially a rising star, but maybe she'll be the next to be censured. So you had Adam Schiff, you had Al Green recently after his outbursts, his big outburst at the unofficial State of the Union address a few weeks ago. And now we've got Miss Jasmine Crockett. So Attorney General Pam Bondi said Crockett could be censured by Congress because she just called for Elon Musk to be taken down, and she wants him taken down for her birthday, which is coming up on March 29th. She also said Ted Cruz should be knocked in the head. Bondi warned that Crockett's words were so reckless and inflammatory they could warrant an official reprimand from Congress. Yeah, here it is. Recently said on March 29th, it's my birthday, and all I want to see happen on my birthday is for Elon to be taken down. And I don't think she's apologized. She doesn't seem that she realizes that that was a problem. No self-reflection there. Here's another article from InfoWars saying for Crockett, saying the party should punch the GOP, knock Ted Cruz over the head, take down Musk. Let's watch a clip here.
I think that you punch. I think you punch. I think you're okay with you okay with punching. You know, I think, and I love Colin, and I think towards the end he started to punch a little harder. But, like, it's Ted Cruz. I mean, like, this dude has to be knocked over the head, like, hard, right?
Wow.
Like, there is no niceties with him, like, at all. Like, you go clean off on him, right?
Well, that's it. Let me replay that part.
I mean, like, this dude has to be knocked over the head, like, hard.
Knocked over the head. Like literally, or are you talking about like figuratively with like superior ideas? That's the only way you can beat him. You're not going to win by burning the country down, causing mayhem and violence, you know, just taking out all the politicians you don't like. You're going to have to win at the ballot box with voter ID, with integrity, and win with better ideas. And people are going to be like, wow, I resonate with the new Democrats. I'm going to go vote for him. I like Ted Cruz. He did all right for a number of years, but it's time to move in a different direction. I like the new Democratic Party. Or not. Again, these guys are doubling, tripling down on the violence and the extremism. And she is a rising star for all the wrong reasons. Here's our birthday video.
Politicians. So I'll make sure that I keep it short, but I am truly here for very selfish reasons. Starting with on March 29th, it's my birthday. And all I want to see happen on my birthday is for Elon to be taken down. Yes. Listen, I have learned as I serve on the Doge Oversight Committee that there is only one language that the people that are in charge understand right now. And that language is money. And so I've been so proud to see us organized behind a cause.
Okay. So there's a few warnings. Some alarming videos. Let's take another video here. This is from Scott Pressler, one of the heroes, taking Pennsylvania, helping Pennsylvania go for Trump. Couldn't have done it without Scott, so he did a terrific job, and I believe he's also a former Democrat. He says he doesn't use this word often, but Jasmine Crockett truly is wicked because she just insulted the governor of Texas, where she lives. Let's watch this.
Because we in these hot ass Texas streets, honey. Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing,
Governor Hot Wheels. I mean, not that it's, maybe it's a term of endearment, but I mean, the man is in a wheelchair. So saying Hot Wheels in that context, probably not great. So I guess I didn't even know how it happened with Abbott, but I guess a tree fell on him when he was 26 and paralyzed him from the waist down. And he's got a happy family. He was a decent politician. He's the governor of Texas now. And was just insulted here by the crude Jasmine Crockett. But don't worry, I still have one more. This one just came out, I think, today. Here's the latest from Jasmine Crockett, where she physically assaulted a correspondent for Laura Loomer, asking about her participation in the anti-Elon Tesla takedown event. So here we go. Here's the latest. Has she learned her lesson? Apparently not.
Hello, Congresswoman.
Horse manure. Well, that sounds like fun.
Wait, Congresswoman Crockett.
But it sounds.
Congresswoman Crockett, you were recently on a Tesla takedown call calling for violence on the 29th. Would you like to clarify your comments?
As you can see.
Congresswoman, will you condemn violence at the Tesla?
Asking, will you condemn violence? And then she violently attacks the dude. And I guess he got some scratches on his hand from her long nails. And that's just, is physical assault as a stretch? I don't know. It's just, it's unprofessional behavior for a sitting congresswoman to act that way. So now we've got multiple examples of Jasmine Crockett and who she really is. So, yeah, I think she could use a good humbling here. It's time for censuring her as well. She's got to get that message. This is not how you handle things. So, okay, so I'm going to go yes. Pam Bondi should censure. After this last one, that's kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back. You pushed too far. It was bad enough already, but now we've got multiple examples, and I know there's more. There's going to continue to be more until she learns her lesson. I don't know if that's going to be possible, but at least you could, make an example of her and put an end to that. So there you go. But that's what the modern left is doing. And speaking of that, we're going to get to the next topic. Oh, I got another person in a wheelchair. The latest Tesla vandalism victim is a wheelchair-bound woman who's been left to pay thousands of dollars in damages because somebody thought, hey, they just saw people are just seeing random Teslas in parking lots and just going up and keying them without asking questions, without knowing the ideology of the person that drives it. That's how stupid the left is. They just attack Teslas on sight, not realizing that there's probably a leftist Democrat that owns it. I mean, it's not that easy to just get rid of a car just because all of a sudden, it's become a bad thing. All of a sudden, Teslas are associated with fascism, which is ridiculous. And so they're fighting. They think they're fighting back against Nazis and fascism by going against the Tesla cars. And a lot of them are going to get felonies. I mean, a lot of them didn't know. I didn't even know that a lot of these Teslas have cameras all over them. So if you vandalize one, they're going to catch you on camera. Got a few of those. Let's
now she says she feels targeted. Damaging a personal vehicle does not affect Elon. If anything, it's giving him more money to fix the vehicle that you damaged. It's not damaging who you're thinking.
Right. And it's the good point here. You're not hurting Tesla so much. I mean, yeah, by going after the dealerships and setting cars on fire, shooting bullets through the windows or things like that. Yeah, that is hurting business. But if you're just attacking somebody's car, I mean, it's amazing how these people are actually turning to their criminal activity. They're so wound up. All right, but let's check this out.
It is.
Just before 6 p.m. on Thursday, Abigail Gill and her family were seated for dinner at Olive Garden. Over an hour later, they left, and what they found waiting for them was shocking.
I mean, you're sitting at the frickin' a suburban Olive Garden, and someone's going to go key up your car in the parking lot? Really?
Quite a lot of damage.
Look at that. What kind of an asshole does something like that?
He keyed this side as well, which, as you can see, this side, it even looks like it affected above the tire. This is a lot more damage.
This comes less than a week after a possible arson at a Tesla dealership in Kansas City. Gill believes her brand new Tesla was targeted because of the current political climate and perception of Tesla CEO Elon Musk.
Well, of course it was. The left has lost their mind. Here's another one. Somebody's getting into like a dangerous, terrifying road rage incident with some dude screaming, "Sell your Nazi car," by a masked lunatic. This is a Nazi car. Are you serious? Let's check this one out.
Cut off and berated, and it was all captured on camera. And the woman that was driving said the man that did all this was angry because she was driving a Tesla. As Fox 13's Alejandra Guzman explains, that woman was just trying to get to a doctor's appointment. She has the latest from South Lake Union outside of the Tesla showroom.
This encounter has left this mother pretty shaken up. She's just grateful that things didn't escalate physically. At the same time, though, she's afraid to drive her car anywhere, as we're seeing a growing number of incidents targeting Tesla owners, not just here locally, but nationwide.
What do we say? I don't know, 75, 80% of Tesla owners are probably left-wing. They're attacking their own. So stupid.
Thankfully by myself. Lee was on the way to a doctor's appointment in Linwood Wednesday morning when she says all of a sudden a driver behind her just laid on the horn.
Imagine being just that worked up and outraged. You're going to get into this. You're going to speed it. You're going to see a Tesla on site, speed ahead.
As they came up to a red light, things spiraled out.
Slam on your brakes.
Out of control when a white SUV followed her and cut her off, stopping in the middle of the road.
Gets out and walks straight up to my window. So I cracked my window and I said, what is the problem? And he goes, you need to sell your car. This is a Nazi car. You're driving it. You need to sell your car.
Lee says she's been driving a Tesla for the last 2 years. She says a man wearing a camouflage jacket and a ski mask attacked her for it.
It's really sad, that this is what's happening to people who honestly, it doesn't affect how I believe or what I believe. Just the car I drive. Being in Seattle, climate's important.
Yeah. Wow. Terrifying road rage. Oh my God. I mean, it gets weirder and crazy. You would think it'd be a few of these, and then people would kind of be like, okay, let's chill. But it seems to only be escalating. And it's like empowering them to get even more bold. Here's an interesting tweet here from Chase Geyser, who was recently swatted by leftist terrorists. Said, if you have to explain to members of your political party why they shouldn't vandalize your property, then you are in the wrong political party. So here's somebody with a Tesla that has to actually write, please don't mess with my Tesla. I bought this years ago. We stand with the LGBTQ plus community. There's another person that said, if I owned a Tesla, that thing would be covered bumper to bumper in liberal bumper stickers and resistance messages. Otherwise, I'd have to sell my car. That's the modern left. This one's at least pretty funny. People are now spray painting SpaceX rockets on Cybertrucks. I don't know if that's a rocket, but yeah, this is a notorious satire account here from Greg. There's more of that. At least they didn't put any swastikas on it, I suppose. Would you rather have a penis or a swastika on your Tesla? There's another interesting tweet. Why is there never a clip of a conservative destroying or vandalizing private property? Yeah, I talked about this last week. Don't remember the right-wing outraged at Bud Light or Target stores, burning anything down or terrorizing employees or vandalizing anything. But leftists are emboldened to do it all, and it's all good. They think they're fighting fascism. Here's the resistance. A lady freaking out this Trump Vance sign. It was great that one time this guy wired it up with electricity. And he had so many people trying to vandalize his signs. It's amazing that these leftists, I mean, they get so worked up. I don't know what they're listening to. What are they doing? What are they getting? Is it who radicalized them? I don't know if it's NPR or MSNBC or where else they're getting their information from. How are they just running around just that angry all day? And they're willing to resort to criminal activity on sight. Just emotional insanity. It's crazy. And it gets worse. They found incendiary devices, so perhaps explosives discovered at an Austin Tesla dealership in the latest attack fueled by left-wing rage. Authorities confirmed the devices were fire-starting weapons, calling it domestic terrorism. Federal charges have been filed in multiple states for arson, Molotov cocktails. Critics accuse activists of hypocrisy as environmentalists attacking Tesla create pollution and endanger lives. Yeah, that's another thing. I just think it's funny that they're going after their own people who didn't. Oh my God! There's no thinking there. There's no critical thought. But they are, with this administration cracking down. You got FBI launching a task force to investigate domestic terrorism, attacks on Tesla vehicles and dealerships. And hopefully they will put a stop to this. Yeah, this is something for the historians to figure out. What happened to the leftists at this time frame in history? They lost their damn minds. Okay, well, there is going to be some fighting back from Elon Musk. Not on the Tesla thing. But getting back to the headlines here, Elon Musk, should he sue Jamaal Bowman into oblivion? Well, he is going to sue him. So here's a story here. Elon Musk announcing legal action for falsely calling him a Nazi. Yeah, this stuff has got to stop. I mean, if it'd be one thing if he was an actual Nazi, that would be different. They keep throwing that out there. They're ruining the term. They don't even know what it means anymore. And these news people have to be held to a higher standard. Actually, Bowman was a former representative. He was the dude who got in that stunt where he was pulling the fire alarm in Congress. I think he ended up getting recalled. But they still put him on CNN the other day. And he might regret these comments. Yeah, they throw this stuff out there nonchalantly, but it's not true. And yeah, it's time to push back on these people. So here we go. And Elon's had enough lawsuits inbound.
That's not true. And this shows, again, the American people do not trust Elon Musk. And Elon Musk is incompetent in his position. And how do we know? Because they fired tens of thousands of people. It was challenged in court. The court said the people have to go back, and now the people are coming back. He's incompetent. He's a thief. He's a Nazi.
Incompetent and a thief and a Nazi. Hold on.
He's a thief. He's a Nazi, and people don't trust him. People are coming back. He's incompetent. He's a thief. He's a Nazi, and people don't trust him. Period.
Wow. Well, he should be out apologizing for that, getting ahead of it. But I guess maybe it's time to lawyer up. So I don't know what suing into oblivion means. I don't know if you should sue the network or do you sue him directly. I don't know how all that works. But it's time to make an example of some of these people. They can't just sit there and demonize people. And then if you get their people worked up and they start causing mayhem and violence. So it's not good. So he needs to go sit on the hot seat. And he did it to himself. So yes, I will go for that. That was just a quick one. Going to be kind of a lightning round from here. I think I'm almost at the 1 hour mark. Try to keep this reasonably tight today. So, Elon Musk, should he sue? Yes. So what's the next one? I got a quick one. Trump won swing states because Elon owns the internet. Interesting revelation. I was not aware of this. Most people were not. This, of course, came from the loud mouth of Rosie O'Donnell, who has such bad Trump derangement syndrome that she actually moved out of the United States and moved and relocated to Ireland. I don't know why they accepted her, but maybe she threw a lot of money at them, made them an offer they couldn't refuse. Poor people, got to deal with that. Wacko. Okay, and she was wildly inaccurate with this response. So leftist Hollywood C-lister Rosie O'Donnell espoused unhinged conspiracy theories about how Trump retook office, ludicrously claiming his friend Elon was instrumental because he controls the entire internet. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, when you're deranged, I guess you'll just believe anything that fits your narrative, no matter how crazy it is. So let's listen to Rosie in her own words.
You know, a lot of people did vote for him.
Yes.
Do you accept their right to do that and their opinion of him?
Well, I respect their right to do that. I question why the first time in American history a president has won every swing state and is also best friends, and his largest donor was a man who owns and runs the internet. So I would hope that that would be investigated and that we would see whether or not it was an anomaly or something else that happened on election night in America when Kamala Harris was filling up stadiums with people who supported her.
Filling up stadiums that had like Beyonce. They were there to see Beyonce. God, I'd love to sit down with Rosie O'Donnell and have this discussion, but she's crazy. She doesn't want to have these discussions, so she's just fled to Ireland. She can't deal with the reality. Of course, she's had multiple public feuds with Donald Trump for a long time, and so had to leave. That's funny.
And Donald Trump was not able to do that.
All right, now she's going, yes, unhinged conspiracy theories that the election was stolen. I pointed out a lot of anomalies in 2020, including all of the swing states that stopped counting. There was a lot of weird stuff during the pandemic things that had never been done before, like with the drop boxes and what have you, and the sloppy signature checking. But this is new. This is Rosie. I mean, she wants to believe desperately that somehow Kamala was able to pull off the victory, even though there was nothing there to suggest that she was that popular. She was just hyped up by the media. In fact, nobody really liked her until and nobody even knew what she was even up to. She just disappeared. She's just, getting drunk somewhere. But then once Biden couldn't run again, then they decided to hype her up. But it didn't work. She was so phony and scripted. Looked like she was half drunk all the time. Couldn't show up on Rogan, couldn't do normal interviews. Had a bad, embarrassing moment with Brett Baer. She couldn't handle it. She wasn't ready. Well, she's never going to be ready because she wasn't qualified. So, but this is weird. And then Rosie O'Donnell, Elon owns the internet. Al Gore owns the internet. No, but he doesn't own it either. But yeah, it's a stupid comment. Many of them, but I guess when you're that mentally ill, I guess you're going to say stupid things. So there you go. Yeah, good one, Bill. Yes, the St. Patrick's spinning in his grave. Now that the snakes are returning. Yep. She's back. She's polluting the island. I don't know. So I guess, but I mean, hey, I guess we were addition by subtraction in our country. So good luck to her there. Hopefully she'll get the mental health help that she needs. Some therapy, self-reflection. I doubt it. But anyway, we'll move along. Okay, and speaking of that, we're going to dovetail that into another election story. And I haven't even seen this clip yet, or I've seen 17 seconds of it. Donald Trump has doubled down, calling for more secure elections. Elon Musk is all on board. Yeah, we all want to ensure honest elections with integrity. But you're never going to get that with Rosie. You're not going to get that with the Democrats. They don't want voter ID. They don't want the oversight. So here's Trump calling for proof of citizenship, voter ID, one-day voting, and paper ballots. Let's check out this clip.
Easy to do it, and we should go to paper ballots. We should go to one-day voting. We should go to voter ID, and just one other thing, proof of a thing called citizenship in the United States. Wouldn't that be nice? How simple does that sound? Proof of citizenship, voter ID, one-day voting, and paper ballots. Paper ballots.
I'd love to see what Rosie thinks of this novel idea, since she's questioning now the 2024 election. And we saw that shit show in California where they were counting for weeks and weeks afterwards, until I guess the Democrats all won, of course. And they don't. And there's the thing: you're not allowed to even show voter ID in California. So how do you figure out what's real and what's not? I mean, anybody could just hand in anything. You can't signature check for ID, see if they're actually a real citizen. You can just drop it in the mail. You vote on your machine. I mean, complete 180 from what Trump is saying, which is just basically what we used to have, which is what every other country in the world has. Let's take a look at this map here. Almost all countries have voter ID. Look at this list. We're all here, all the who's who of all the modern societies across the globe. But not the United States. And they just let, I don't know how many umpteen million illegal aliens that came over the border the last few years. So it brings us into this. If the Democrats had won, what I was talking about earlier, if you were here, if Democrats had won, they would have made voter ID illegal across all states, and this would have been the last real election in the U.S. Donald Trump and Elon Musk literally saved America from becoming a one-party deep blue state. So Kamala Harris won, I think, in all the states where they didn't have to show ID. But if you did have to show ID, Trump won those. And I think in 2020, Trump won like every state. I'm not 100% on this, but I believe he won just about every state with in-person voting. And Biden won with all of the mail-in voting in every state. So this seemed to be the Democrat game plan. And so had they taken 2024, that would have been the end of all future elections in this country. Because they could have just outlawed, hey, we don't have to show voter ID. You can just trust us, bro. And then they would, you think they would let anybody audit another election again? They didn't even finish the audit in Arizona. Got a little too close. Anyway, okay, that's that story there. I think I just have one last topic, and I guess that's kind of the big one. I don't know, maybe I should have started with that one. I would have had a better title, the more hot button issue of the day. Get more Twitter people in here. It's all good. It's always a trying to find the right headline, the right thumbnail, the right topics. But it's all good. I thank you guys all for being here today. I'm sorry I didn't start with this one. I don't know. I kind of think this is blown out of proportion. It's not that big of a deal. But we're going to cover it. Everyone else is. And it is important. And that's Michael Waltz. And should he resign after the Signal scandal? So let's jump to this. Democrats exploding over the leak of secret war plans in the Signal chat, and heads should roll. And the question remains, why? There's a lot of things why. So Jeffrey Goldberg of The Atlantic, the old neocon rag, and this is not a respectable journalist. We're going to get into that. We'll break that down. So he was let into this Signal chat with some heavy players. There were 18 individuals listed as members of a Signal group. And one of them, whether it was intentional or not, they're saying he was inadvertently invited. Jeffrey Goldberg of The Atlantic, included with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Vice President Vance, got National Security Advisor Michael Waltz, who was the one who, I guess, had put him in there. And it's just a question of whether he did so intentionally or not. And then we got Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Tulsi Gabbard. So you have some heavy people like all involved in a Signal group chat. And they're allegedly war plans for the U.S. to target some Houthis out across the pond in the Middle East. Is it the Red Sea? Yeah, the Red Sea. So Goldberg broke the story, so he got sent in here, and it's unknown whether they were leaking this to him or not, or how bad things were, or whether there was actually classified information on there. I don't know. But yes, he got to break this story. What I will say in order to illustrate the shocking recklessness of this Signal conversation is that Pete Hegseth post contained operational details of forthcoming strikes on Yemen, including information about targets and weapons the U.S. would be deploying and attack sequencing. So he says it must have been Waltz that brought him in. And as the conversation unfolded, he was shocked and alarmed that it all involved seemingly didn't notice his name in the group. And they should note that it's all very bizarre because Goldberg is obviously and rabidly anti-Trump. It's one of the never Trump neocons. He was initially engaged in policy conversation on how to restore U.S. and global shipping in the Red Sea, and the question potential public backlash of a bombing campaign on Yemen once again commenced. Another thing is, it's possible that they set Goldberg up to see if he was going to leak information. And that's something that the first Trump term was plagued with, was people on the inside leaking things to dirty journalists. And so if you put this stuff out there and you find out who it is, now you can just, you find out, who you don't want to be in contact with. You got to blacklist Jeffrey Goldberg, but then you got to maybe target Michael Waltz as being a potential leaker on the inside. I don't know. But anywho, so they're saying it's an outrageous national security breach and heads should roll. They need a full investigation and hearing into this on the House Armed Services Committee. And they said people should be fired for this. But, well, the only person that, obviously you don't want a journalist in here that could have leaked something that's careless. And it could have, it could have been used against us. But, this journalist also should be keeping his mouth shut and not leaking this kind of information. Or he could have said something. I don't know. I don't know if it's a mistake or intentional. Guess we'll find that out. Republicans are by and large shrugging it off. It seems like they're making a mountain out of a molehill. But I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be something that takes Pete Hegseth down. But it could have some implications for Mr. Michael Waltz there. And we got Trump administration, accidentally texted Jeffrey Goldberg their war plans. If that's what it actually was. And now you've got Trump defending the National Security Advisor Waltz after the signal leak. President appeared to confirm the advisor added the Atlantic's Jeffrey Goldberg to the chat, and perhaps he talked to him on other channels. I think one of the stories they were going to get into is that they might have, that maybe Waltz is buddies with Goldberg, and that he talks to him on other channels and maybe just accidentally added him to the group. Well, now you're going to lose your access, so maybe that wasn't such a hot idea. But I guess if you're going to try to, get a scandal brewing in the Trump administration, that's what you would do. Of course, trying to make a big story and try to get ratings for your dying publication, which was mocked by the satire site Babylon Bee, saying it's 4D chess. It's a genius. Trump leaks war plans to the Atlantic because no one will ever see them. Yeah, it's odd to me that people actually still see them as any kind of a credible news source. But yeah, mostly it's the old neocons from the old days. And I don't think they have much of they're going to struggle with their subscriber base going into the future, as most of their clients are dying off. Here's Pete Hegseth commenting about it.
On the Houthi campaign, because of the skill and courage of our troops. I've monitored it very closely from the beginning. And you see, we've been managing 4 years of deferred maintenance under the Trump administration. Our troops, our sailors were getting shot at as targets. Our ships couldn't sail through. And when they did shoot back, it was purely defensively or at shacks in Yemen. President Trump said, no more. We will reestablish deterrence.
Okay, this looks like it's dubbed over. I don't know what happened with the audio sync there, but he was given his perspective on that. But let's take a closer look, deeper dive on Goldberg here and some of his history, why he really lacks credibility. Not saying he made any of this up, but Goldberg is also the guy who pushed two major BS hoaxes right before the past two elections. So let's take a look at this clip.
At issue is a report by The Atlantic's Jeffrey Goldberg based on accounts from anonymous sources. Goldberg writes of the morning Trump was scheduled to visit an American cemetery near Paris, where American Marines are buried. This is a piece of the article. In a conversation with senior staff members on the morning of the scheduled visit, Trump said, quote, "Why should I go to that cemetery? It's filled with losers." In a separate conversation on the same trip, Trump referred to more than 1,800 Marines who lost their lives at Belleau Wood as, quote, suckers for getting killed. Earlier today, Goldberg
The old suckers and losers hoax.
responded to the pushback from the president and several of the president's aides.
I stand by my reporting. I have multiple sources telling me this is what happened.
Here's what Kelly
Your unnamed sources.
told The Atlantic magazine
Has no credibility. Kind of like your...
about a White House conversation after Trump told Kelly he wished he'd be more like German generals. Kelly said, quote, "Do you mean the Kaiser's general? Surely you can't mean Hitler's generals." And Trump said, yeah, Hitler's generals. What do you think that this is important for voters to know about? Is that one of the why did you do the story now? Is it you finally got the confirmation of these stories recently?
Yeah, I got confirmations and I got on the record interviews that I needed to make sure that the story was solid, including an interview with General Kelly.
So this is a guy who will go out of his way to try to trash Trump on any chance he gets. You got Glenn Greenwald, one of the good ones, talking about Jeff Goldberg and how he lied America into the Iraq War, and then became the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic to begin with. Talks about how do you get promoted when you're in the lying corporate press. Here it is.
It's not prohibited in American corporate journalism to spread false stories and conspiracy theorists. In fact, that's the only way that you can thrive in journalism. The people who have lied the most, who have spread the most conspiracy theories, are the ones who have been promoted and enriched most within corporate journalism. The difference is the way that you have to advance in journalism is you have to tell lies and spread conspiracy theories on behalf of the CIA, and that advance the interest of the U.S. government. That is not only permitted, that's required to be promoted. What you can't do, the thing that Hearst did that got him expelled from journalism, is he spread what are called conspiracy theories that are against the narrative of the U.S. security state, that undermine U.S. foreign policy, and that's the only thing that's prohibited. That's what gets you kicked out of journalism. As long as the conspiracy theories you're affirming and the false stories you're publishing are aligned with what the CIA says and what the Pentagon says and what the entire rest of the corporate media says, you're fine. In fact, you're better than fine. You're going to have all kinds of rewards lavished upon you. Let's remember that the journalist who did the most to convince Americans of the vital lie that Saddam Hussein had an alliance with al-Qaeda and therefore led 70% of Americans to believe the lie that Saddam Hussein participated in the planning of the 9/11 attacks was named Jeffrey Goldberg. He did that in two separate articles, one in 2002 and one in 2003 in the August Journal of the New Yorker, that even won journalism awards. He was put on NPR and every Sunday show to spread this lie. Here you see it, March 2002. The Great Terror was the name of this article from the New Yorker. In northern Iraq, there is new evidence of Saddam Hussein's genocidal war on the Kurds and of his possible ties to al-Qaeda. And then...
Okay. So that's Jeffrey Goldberg. So, a dirty journalist. But that says, Glenn Greenwald says, that's how you rise to the top in the corporate media. It's basically tied in with the intelligence communities. So, I don't know. Can't really take it too seriously. Anywho, let's, there's an interesting point here from Scott Adams here regarding the Signal app drama. People will want to learn that our top government officials have no secure and efficient way to communicate anything unless they are in the same room. If you're thinking, why didn't they use amazing government systems that are designed to be secure? And you will learn one reason why Hillary had her own email system when she had that server in her kitchen or what have you. Because the government systems don't work. It's so inefficient. I don't know. You'd think they would have some kind of crazy military technology so they wouldn't need Signal. They'd have their own version of Signal and nobody would get into it. No, I would assume they have something like that for, the really classified stuff. If it's real war plans and what have you, they have their own encrypted methods. But yeah, they could probably just use Signal app for many other things that aren't too sensitive, because it just functions better than anything that the government has internally. Anyway, so that's an interesting point. So maybe that's got something to do with it. And if they're saying you have Doge taught us anything, it's that our government systems are Stone Age relics. That's just how it works. People, there's some great programs, right? Social Security or, the VA or something like that. But a lot of people will say they're woefully inefficient. They're using, old equipment, old software. And so perhaps they use Signal as their channels of communication. So maybe that's not such a bad thing. It's depending on what it is. And finally, I'll leave you with one more tweet from Chase Geiser here saying, Pete Hegseth accidentally shares sensitive information with a journalist. Well, he didn't know there's a journalist in the chat. So it's whether you want to demonize Pete or Michael. But so some sensitive information shared with a journalist, and the left calls for him to resign. But you remember General Milley from the previous administration was intentionally sharing classified information with the Communist Chinese Party. And the left called him a hero. He never had to step down. He should have been. He was more loyal to the Communist Chinese than he was to Trump. So that was during the previous Trump administration. General Milley saying he would tip off the Chinese if Trump ever did something. So a traitor within the ranks, but nothing happened to him. And he went on to survive and thrive under the Biden administration. Not a hero anymore. But anyway, so it's a double standard. It's hypocrisy. But perhaps Schultz will be reprimanded. Perhaps he'll resign. I don't know. Or it just could have been an accident. Who knows? Did anyone really get hurt? It could have been. Sloppy. But I think it's blown out of proportion. So that's why I pushed it to the end. I felt like it was the least important of all the topics today. Perhaps I messed it all up. Well, whatever. We'll get another chance to do it again on Thursday. So there's we're back to my headlines. Game over for the Democrats? Yes. Congresswoman Crockett deserved to be censored? Yes. Tesla terrorists are hurting themselves, not actual Nazis? Yes. Elon Musk should sue Jamaal Bowman? Yes. Trump won swing states because Elon owns the internet? No. That was just crazy rhetoric from old Rosie. If Democrats won 2024, would they have outlawed voter ID? Yes. Michael Waltz, should he resign after the Signal scandal? Not sure yet. But if he does, well, what have you. It's not going to be the biggest scandal. So we'll see what happens from that. I don't know. But I do know that it's about the end of my time here. Got to wrap this up within an hour and a half. We're at the 124 mark now. So anyway, that concludes today's episode, and I thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. And if you want to do it again, I'll be back on Thursday at 4 o'clock. And I will also be on tonight's for Toxically Masculine Tuesday, the best roundtable on the internet, with Mike Barra, Dr. Brooks Agnew, and trail boss Steve Doran. That'll be on at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. Check for that on Mike Barra, Rumble, or YouTube. It should be on Twitter X as well. So that's what's on tap later. Thank you so much, Bill. It was great to have you. Glad you enjoyed it. And I hope they'll see you again sometime. But that's all I've got today. So take care out there. Have a good one. And we'll see you all next time. I'm out.